Welcome to 5 Good Minutes.
You're listening to today's inspirational message on the book of Ecclesiastes with Kurt Bjorklund.
Ecclesiastes 4, the teacher is talking about some choices that we make. So the choice of handling oppression and how we see it in the world, of contentment over envy. And here he says this, and it's this little word better, verse 6, better a handful of quietness than 2 hands full of toil and a striving after the wind. Now, contentment and envy and quietness and striving are all obviously related. And what he's saying is that it's better to have your hands full of quietness, meaning that there's not a striving, than 2 hands full of toil. And then he says a striving after the wind. So he keeps evoking again this image of chasing the wind. And again, I saw vanity, verse 7, under the sun, one person who has no other, either son or brother, yet there is no end to all his toil. And his eyes are never satisfied with riches, so that he never asks, for whom am I toiling and depriving myself of pleasure? This also is vanity and an unhappy business. I love that phrase, an unhappy business. So here's the way that I understand this is he says, it's better to have your hands full of quietness than 2 hands full of toil. Now this goes against kind of this Protestant work ethic idea and a toiling mentality that says I need to be productive to have value. That sometimes the better choice is to say, I don't need to be productive. I think this is part of the idea of the Sabbath in the Old Testament and in the New Testament, is it's not just reduce your idea of a Sabbath to an hour of church observance, although for some people that would be a step that would be positive. It's saying don't use your one day a week that I want you to use as a gift to be quiet and to rest from your labor, to keep doing all the things that you do every other day. And I'll be honest with my own journey with that. It is hard for me to take just Sunday afternoon and say I'm not being productive. That's so hard for me because I am driven and I like being productive. And when I get home from church on Sunday afternoon, I try to tell myself, okay, take the rest of the day and you don't need to be productive. You don't need to achieve anything, do anything, except maybe spend some time with family, friends, do something recreational, enjoy your life. And I think that is one of God's gifts that so many times we say, well, I'll just take care of these few things today. And what we're doing is we're having 2 hands full of striving. And he says, you're ultimately chasing after the wind. Enjoy a little bit of your life. Have a handful of quietness. Enjoy the fact that you don't have to be productive all the time. We've already seen in Ecclesiastes 2 how productivity is a chasing after the wind. And he says it here again. He says it is a vanity. It's a grasping the mist. And then he says it's an unhappy business. He says basically if you get to where all you're ever doing is working, you will be an unhappy person. So one of the ways that you know that you're working too much, and you will have all the justifications, there's too much to do, I need to do it for my family, I need to keep up, I need, is if you find yourself perpetually unhappy. Because your happiness, at least to some extent, will be tied to your quietness and your lack of striving. Think about that. Your unhappiness is often tied to your striving or your lack of quietness. So what would it look like for you to have a handful of quietness instead of 2 hands of striving today, this week, maybe Sunday? What would it look like for you to say, I don't need to be productive every day, all day. Instead, I need to enjoy a little bit of the quiet that I can.
Thanks for joining us here today. There's a lot of great content to explore on Orchard Hill Plus and on the Orchard Hill main feed from the weekend. Have a great day.